You see, it's just like makeup. And girls like makeup. At least most girls do. You know, your mama didn't really even wear makeup. She was the prettiest thing I ever laid eyes on. Still remember our first date like it was yesterday. She let me take her to the senior prom. Yeah. She said it was because I was the only boy in high school that had the gumption to ask her. All the other boys were afraid because she was too pretty. It's true, you know, they say that the prettiest girls are the loneliest. All the boys are afraid to ask them out. They're intimidated, which I guess means nobody's ever going to ask you out, which is just fine by me. Actually, the reason the boys didn't ask your mother out wasn't because she was pretty. It was because they knew I was sweet on her. If they so much as glanced in her direction, they'd get a busted lip and a black eye for their transgression. I never told your mother that, of course. In fact, as far as I can remember, she only ever wore makeup twice. The day we got married and the night I showed up to take her to the prom. She came out of the trailer, sparkly dress and puffy sleeves and stacked heels, hair blowing in the wind. Oh, she was beautiful. Like you. But I digress. Rule number 1. The night is your friend. Don't ever be afraid of the night. The night conceals you. It hides you. The night is something you wear, like a dress, or a cloak, or a shroud. It makes you invisible. The invisible is dangerous, like death itself. I know what you're thinking. You're afraid. Daddy looks scary. But don't be. You don't ever have to be afraid of me. I love you. I will always be here for you. 7 minutos. 7 minutes. Better get you ready, kiddo. Sorry about that, darling. It's working now. Like I was saying, we hailed in at about 0300. There was a new moon and the sky was overcast. 3-man assault team. No fuss, no muss. Cuban air defense was good. Heck, it was Soviet, including the operators. But see, by keeping the team small and the drop plane high, we avoid flying in the wild weasels, you know, which do a hell of a job at jamming the radar. But blowing out radar scopes, just between you and me, I don't know, it's like cutting a fart in church while the preacher's praying. Exactly my point. So, we come in fast and undercover, and we get into the village, no problemo. Intelligence told us there were 6 guards. 3 of them on duty, 3 of them in their bunks, and I don't know, we must have caught the whole gang with their britches down, because we put all 6 of them into a dirt nap at exactly 0320. And the package we were sent in to nab, he was toes down with a little senorita. So we shoot them both with tranks, we bag up the little colonel, we beeline for the LZ, right? Our rendezvous time with our helo was exactly 0330. And we were in and out of there faster than, I don't know, a saltwater sailor with a $2 hooker. Now strike that, faster than crap through a goose. Hell, we were good, that's what I'm trying to say. I mean, we were a team. First Sergeant Joe McDonald, a great guy, best I've ever met, Colonel Pete Stovall, and then there was me. The 3 of us, we bled together on 3 different continents. We dropped bodies on 5. We ran up bar tabs and everywhere between here and Timbuktu. We busted out a half as many brigs. I mean, nothing could stop us. At least that's what we thought. So anyway, we hightail it to the LZ and got there just as the chopper touches down at 0330, as per the plan. Just as I chuck the package onto the helo deck, I hear the whack crack of a sniper rifle behind me. So I whip around only to find that old Joe isn't anywhere near me. And now we are foobarred and snafu'd up the yin-yang. I mean, there's no way in hell we're going to leave Joe behind, but the high-value package we just nabbed, it has an express delivery date, so the chopper pilot, he's about to wet his panties. I mean, he's going crazy. Bullets are flying. So I tell Pete, look, just take off in the chopper. But he refuses, so I convince him by cold cocking him, and I toss his ass into the helo as well. I give the pilot the coordinates, I give him a time for a rendezvous pickup, and I tell him to lift off, and he does. Right? So I head back to the village, and I find Joe's corpse dead in the grass with a bullet hole smack dab in the middle of his forehead. There's a sniper going through his clothes, so I sneak up on that sniper and I give him a red smile. Well, you know the drill. I hoist him up, I dead man carry him on my shoulders. I mean, I am double timing towards the new LZ. What I don't realize is that I run myself straight into the middle of a damn minefield. I mean, I don't hear the thunk of the bouncing Betty as it happens 2 feet behind me. I mean, what? Bouncing Betty? Well, it's a mine. You know, the gall darn Germans invented them, and the commies perfected them, and it's the kind of mine that springs up out of the ground about 3 feet after you've stepped on one. I think they call them daisy cutters, too. The point is, old Joe, who's deader than a doornail, he saves my sorry hide. Because after the bouncing Betty goes thunk, it actually explodes with a whoomp, and shrapnel, it rips into Joe's body instead of mine, because I'm carrying him. Only problem is, it cuts him in half, which is bad news for Joe, but good news for me because now he's only half the weight. So I commenced running like, a bat out of hell. And I mean, it's thunk-oomp, thunk-oomp, thunk-oomp. But it's all happening harmlessly behind me, right? So I check my watch. I've got just minutes before I get to the new LZ for the rendezvous with old Joe, else they're going to leave us behind. Now, the only thing between me and the LZ is about a half a mile of lazy river. Right, so I leap in with Joe still on my back, and I frog swim as fast as I can, or as fast as my combat boots will let me. I'm swimming for the shore, and just as I'm within reach of it, I hear a roar and a snap, and I'll be damned if some big-ass gator isn't biting down into old Joe. And he commences to do one of them gator death spins or death rolls. I'm holding on to Joe's hand as tight as I can, you know, but the gator, he's pulling us both down to the bottom of that river, rolling us around down in the mud, you know, and the last thing I feel is something ripping and snapping, and suddenly I'm free and I swim up to the surface. And I've still got Joe's hand in mine, but it wasn't until I get my head above water I realize that all I've got left of Joe is his hand. So I stuff it into my rucksack, climb up onto the shore. Just as the helo arrives, I leap onto the deck with Pete's help, and we chopper out into the night, free and clear. Me, Pete, and old Joe. I mean, what was left of old Joe. Look, like I said before, rule number 2 is never leave a buddy behind. Now, I know that this here is your little buddy, so I promise never to leave him behind either. At least until you're able to get around on your own a little better, and then he's your responsibility to never leave him behind either, okay? But until then, I promise never to leave either of you behind, okay? Because buddies have to watch out for each other. And you and me, baby girl, we're always going to be buddies. Always. In this life and the next. So, you want to meet Joe? Rule number 3. Always bring the right tool for the job. You do that, you'll save yourself time, trouble, and even your hide if you remember that one simple rule. Take the spoon, for instance. See this little indentation in here? That makes the spoon really good for eating. as opposed to, say, the combat knife. Really good for killing. Killing, eating. You can use the spoon for stirring your coffee, or eating soup, or... I've been wanting to try this because I see you eating it all the time. See what all the fuss is about. Oh, that's good. That's better than K-rations, actually. You know, spoons have a variety of uses. For instance, if you flip it over and use the flat side, you can use it to turn oversized screws, or you can pop the top off a paint can, or pry open the mouth of a guy who just swallowed a very important paper. I once tunneled out of a Viet Cong POW camp with a spoon just like this. 6 months later, I found myself in a Stasi Huskow, and I had to punch through 2 feet of German concrete with the same spoon. Not this one, but yeah, I lost that spoon in a cribbage game to a one-eyed Siamese pirate named Sally Mae Chin. I really liked that spoon. I never told your mom that story. The spoon would make a mighty good weapon. How you doing? Right? Well, there are other tools to talk about. The tweezers, for instance. Very useful tool for a variety of different things. Now, you're going to be interested in these little puppies to pluck your eyebrows, keep them nice and trimmed so they don't get all bushy and Brezhnev-like. Some guys like trimmed eyebrows too. I could care less. For me, they're excellent to pull the odd bit of shrapnel out of my eye, or pluck little bits of glass out of my palm. They'd actually make a pretty good weapon too. I may have to write a training manual on that. Anyway, I digress. This all brings me to my my last and final tool for you, little lady. It's like... Yeah, it's about right. You know what to do with this one, don't you, kid? Dig in. I wish your mother could see us now. Come to think of it, this bottle would make a hell of a Molotov cocktail.